Emerging from a cocoon into a caterpillar, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here, is live. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, creating beauty and stimulating change from a constant supply of relevant knowledge and information.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change their style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
Powerful black melody, the of Timbuktu, Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt.
I, son of the Most High, Jah Rastafari.
Keep listening.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc I Am Black, kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimiki.
All praise unto the Most High. This last year, Rastafari. Abolish slavery right now. Pharaoh let my children go. Hey. Africa prepare, cause I'm coming home. Black man prepare, cause we going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause you're going home. The joy you bring you, my song I sing you, the fire within you, the struggle continue. Let us begin you. We got to win you. Prosecute and trim you, still praise the king you. Hey, got to be bold and brave. They call you, settle us they call you. Feast slave now look at you. With the length of days give praise. Fire off the blaze. Africa prepare, cause I'm coming home. Black man prepare, cause we going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause you're going home. No equal rights, not justice. No schools, no jobs, them what they use them focus. They do some farming, me get up, blow and me progress. Babylon can't touch this. Look to the east for the crowning of the king. That's the way you are should go. Best most I ever live in God I praise. And I'm living in a right flow. Africa prepare, cause I'm coming home. Black man prepare, cause we going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause you're going home. That's when they're propagandas, because they want to start a thing. And the backstabbers, they slander and they chat all sort of thing. No, I'm the light of the world. What a thing. Bundum Rome, Bundum Babylon, they can't stop a thing. They always fight us. Them not go make me frost. I come to lead a mass. All them a chat, I read them.
Metamorphosis.
Bobo Santis, the repatriation. Tell them a redemption. I want. Think him and say repatriation.
Live from Styles FM.
Cause I'm coming home.
away from Africa with the intention to steal our culture. The good father passed by and said, humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself, my little one. Humble yourself. Oh, my brother,
Greetings, Tinastilin, Eli, Metamorphosis on Styles FM. Your host, Dr. Iman Black. For those who are first-time listeners, that is B-L-A-K. There is no C in black, as there is no lack. So I speak from a position of total energy. So hail ones and ones, and give thanks for another opportunity to reason it out. We are at the closing, at the point of another month on the calendar year. Still in Jamaica, in the month being recognized as Child's Month. So I want to deal with even, I try to arrive at a definition of what is a child, who is a child. Because there's a case in the United States right now where there's a man, a male, 30 years old, was refused to leave his parents' home. And his parents have taken him to court. And the court has ruled that he must leave. It's becoming a big issue. And so we want to expand and explore what is the nature of a child. And when is a person no longer a child? What are the qualifications and the distinctions that define a child? We hear of parents claiming that their children will always be their children, no matter what age they get to. But then the question is, who is a child? So when the see if we can work that out within this metamorphosis. I also want to continue the exploration from the previous reasoning about the mythologies that we embrace and the leadership that we have been given for the last 2,000 years coming out of that religious text. And so we're examining the first hero and leader presented to us as a people coming from the biblical scripture. So we're examining continuously now the character called Moses. Very influential and powerful character, to the extent that even within Jamaica and African liberation struggle, Marcus Garvey's mother chose to call her son Mosiah in reference to the same concept of the Moses, that character that is responsible for what they say, the liberation of the Israelites. We have to continue to look into that to examine whether that is real African history or is that Hebrew mythology. And is it influencing us in a negative way where we lose our own capacity to lead? So we'll continue to look through that. And some things are happening. And as I was saying to my technical director earlier in the evening, every time I surface onto this program, it's like the world shake up. Yeah, it's like it shake up and it settle again, and by the time I surface and come again, it's like it shake up again over a couple of days and I have to recycle. So there's a whole heap of topsy-turvy activities happening in the earth, and a lot of people are disturbed and confused. Events happening too fast and they're not being explored and explained properly. So people running with a lot of half understandings and some real half-informed information, coming up with some half conclusions and arguing more about what is right and what is truthful. So within all that jumble now, we have to start within ourselves and be more scrutinous, if there's such a word, into how we internalize things that happen around us. Because we can't take in everything. We overload. So all of those videos coming into people's phones and them things, and them just taking it in and just moving on to the next one, it damaging your system. You're overloading. And much of the information is negative. And just like the computer, your brain will store these informations, and at a certain time it will play it back. Oftentimes in your sleep. So we are challenged and we explore that thing that is happening out there. Metamorphosis also want to look into not just the past in terms of what they give us as their story, but what they also give us as their future. They give us a version of the past, and they also give us a prediction of what the future should look like. This is where no man has been and no one has lived. But we get projections. So I want to open up the door to examine what is this thing called the rapture. I was hearing about it as a youth. I never really spent any time to really check it out, but because I have the time now, I do. And it's a very powerful story, an allegory that is part of the captivity now of the African mind. Negro Christians, this thing called the rapture. So we're going to look into it and see whether it is a fantasy or whether it is a reality. And each one have to decide into them own self after them arrive at them own conclusions through reasoning. Is the rapture fantasy or is it a reality? And what is the evidence for either? So we want to go through that and check on that. We also want to be conscious that as this month comes to a close, the one that is on the horizon will be filled with football. It's the month of the World Cup. It's a war. It's a world war in a very organized and sanctified way, because this is a championship between national teams. Nations are now engaged in a global struggle for a trophy with millions of dollars attached to it and all sorts of multi-million, multi-billion dollar revenues that are spun off from the world's greatest sporting event. So we're going to talk a little bit about the politics and the psychology as we approach this world event called the World Cup. And at the same time, if the time allows, we'll see and try to quickly look at why is it we are spectators this time and have been spectators for the last 4 or 5 World Cups. And how much longer will we remain spectators? So there are some things we want to deal with. I'm critical, this program is the time when the lines are open. So entertaining calls, entertaining scripts, and they'll be feed forward. So the local number, of course, is 453-1444, 453-1444. And for the ones and ones abroad, you can link the program at 954-338-7973. Again, it's 954-338-7973. So the California man them, and the New York man them, and the man them in the Carolinas, and the man them in Kenya, and all across the globe, right here in Jamaica and in the islands. This is the time to let it be heard. What is it you're thinking? A lot of things under review. Family structure. I man put it out that we need to have a reasoning as to what is the family structure that will provide stability in the communities of black people. What is the family structure? Because we have been given the monogamous framework for the last 2,000 years enforced. And obviously it is not working. It is not working because the rate of divorce is so intense that it's eclipsing the rate of marriages. So there is something intrinsically wrong with that framework that we have been given. So I'm trying to that we must begin to explore alternatives, African styles of living. Is it the style of family where there is one woman and 2 men? Can it be the family life where there's 2 women and 1 man? Can we move towards extended family systems? Yes, so we have a phone ringing. We're not sure.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-price promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
DIB Block Factory and Hardware Supplies Limited, your home for the widest selection of building materials and hardware supplies in Portland. Shop everything from plumbing to electrical to home decor. Find unbelievable prices on tiles, toilets, basins, faucets, shower enclosures, vanity sets, doors, windows, numbers, and much more. Get up to 25% off at DIB Hardware the last Friday and Saturday of every month with their mega month-end sale. Visit any 3 locations in Portland, Buff Bay, St. Margaret's Bay, and Port Antonio. Call 993-4415. DIB Hardware, your foundation starts with us.
For the best quality in sound reinforcement and backlining, Native Audio. We have professional engineers with over 20 years of experience. So call us and we'll take care of your parties, wedding receptions, barbecues, conferences, and small stage shows. Crystal clear sound, Native Audio. Our prices are the best. Call us at 871-5212. That's 871-5212. Native Audio. We make your events audible.
My God.
Yes, that's right. The bus ram, because we're all headed to Fan Fusion. But now while tickets are available, St. Thomas Peeps, we have transportation for you. The bus leaves from Morant Bay to Portland. It's only $2,000 inclusive of tickets per person. Pick up your phone and call 356-7491. Let me repeat, 356-7491. Mommy, you never catch it? Let me repeat the third time. 356-7491 to book now. Call between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. or you can book at Munch's Snack Shop at Duckenfield Primary School Gate. Nobody will be left behind. Fan Fusion, here we come.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Black. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill. They offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Metamorphosis. Dr. Iman Black here, holding the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Nah, they got nothing. Yeah, so as I said earlier, now it's an open call, and you can make a link, and we want to heal up Ibe Melchizedek early, and all the ones and ones in Atlanta who find the time and the energy to engage. But there are not many persons who think it is time worthy enough because it's not connected to money. And so a lot of time activities that are not connected to money people dismiss. When some of times it is those activities that will put you in a position to attract money to yourself as you begin to overstand yourself and know how to position yourself and to arm yourself, that you become a magnet for the things that you need versus the things that you just want. All right, side talk. No, this is the World Cup now. I want the ones and ones realize now that as this month come to a close, international club soccer sign off with the UEFA Champions League final. So all of the club football in the world has literally come to a close now. It was climax with the Real Madrid team showing that they know how to fight the war better than the team who come to play football. A lot of ones who are looking and feel aggrieved at the way in how the Real Madridians took it to them. Well, one team was a team prepared for war, and the other team was a team prepared to try to win a trophy. And that attitude of trying to win the war is what brought out the war-like vibrations in the Real Madrid team, and know that is war and soldiers and injuries are a critical part of war. And just like in the NFL, you try to take out the quarterback, through him is the key man. In soccer and football, it's war, you take out the main ammunition. Who will create the greatest damage against your army, you must take them out. You can take them out by marking, single marking, double marking, triple marking, whatever it requires. You hear me? Whatever it requires. So, it's war. And the Real Madridians take the war and then take out one of the Liverpool man, them key soldiers. And the war kind of gets soft. And with the experience at fighting and winning at that level, everything else became automatic. Brilliant goal and shaky goal, and people questioning even whether the game was fixed. Yeah, all that come up in the atmosphere now due to the way the game and the goals are scored. So what is going to happen now that the World Club Soccer thing is over now? The world now looks towards the bigger trophy, the World Cup. And you may not be a fan of football or soccer, but because over 200 nations started out to qualify, it's at least that amount of nations who are still following it. And there'll be many more. And it's a time in the world when, I mean, you really begin to see the power of sport, global sport, and the level of money that is involved in it, and the level of analysis that it provides, because the sport has to cut across the intersection of power, race, economics, politics. All of these elements surface around an international gathering like this. So it's a world war. It's a world war. And what is critical and interesting now is not the one that's about to start. I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the next 2 tournaments to come. Because here, as black people, we have a way that we can learn something about ourselves. World Cup is every 4 years. So the next one is 2022. And so the next one will be 2026. Well, the 2026 one now, they, meaning FIFA. FIFA is a world governing body. Them control international football from the level of political organization and everything. And so the nations have to be bidding on these games, just like the bid on the Olympics and the bid on all international games. It's for business purposes and who can host the games and so on. Now, for 2026, for the first time now, 3 countries have joined forces to bid for the ability to host the tournament. Normally it's a one country thing. So in 2026 now, the United States, Canada, and Mexico, they have come together and they united. This is football now bringing a unity amongst countries that even at a political level, the United States and Mexico have a whole heap of conflict and confrontation right now as I speak. Right, the leadership is threatening with the wall and the whole kind of immigration issues with Mexico. But you see, at the international football level, they are united. And they've united to put a proposal to FIFA that those 3 countries, which is really the North American continent, that they be given the opportunity to host the 2026 World Cup. And they are showing that they have the resources and the facilities. The last time the World Cup was held in North America was 1994 in the United States. And that is the first time FIFA could claim major profits in terms of money. It's the first World Cup them really make so much money up to the time, 1994. So the North American scenario, because of its professional activities, they are well endowed with infrastructure and transportation and television and all the things required. Now, what I'm telling you them now is there's two countries leave to bid for this World Cup in 2026. The one I just mentioned, and there's a country called Morocco. No, Morocco is another African country. I can tell you about Morocco. Morocco is also in this World Cup. And Morocco has also bid for the World Cup to be the host. So this is a Morocco versus the North American bid. And Morocco really represents Africa. Now, the decision will be made on the 13th of June, which is the day before the World Cup opens. And you know now, there's a lot of campaign going on that is not legal. United States President has come out and told the Ghanaian Prime Minister that because of a trade deal that they just complete, I'm hoping that Ghana will try to encourage the rest of Africa to vote for the United States and Mexico and Canada. Now, here it is now that strength of power and economics is going to weigh heavily now on where the World Cup is hosted. Because it is Morocco versus North America. Jamaica today decided to throw their vote to North America. And the reasoning is that if the tournament is held in North America, it is better for Jamaica because it is nearer and way. Now, some people might want to think that it's unpatriotic because it's Jamaica supposed to align itself with Africa. And you would think that other African countries would align themselves with Morocco. But it's not working out that way. Because we heard today that Liberia has decided to back the North American thing. And Liberia has a political history that is connected to the United States. I just said this to them now, that African nations, I think, are going to end up voting for the United States to host the tournament, as opposed to voting for Morocco. Because the Americans have leverage, and the leverage is in their economics. So we're going to see what's going to work out, because it has not been concluded yet. Decision will be made the day before the tournament host. But I want to be aware that Africa is bidding for the World Cup. So is North America. But African countries are being encouraged to vote against their African colleague and vote on behalf of the United States, because there's pressure, there's economics. And so in a sports, when they tell you that sports and politics don't mix, it's a deception, it's an illusion. And we say we're for Africa to unite. It will be wonderful. It will be very wonderful if all African countries would throw their support behind Morocco. Yeah, it will be very, very interesting, because we need unity. But can it occur at this level? Or should we be just taking lessons about the power of politics and money? It will play out very shortly. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. 453-1444. 954-338-7973. We have things that are happening internationally. We have issues, things that are happening regionally. And of course, there is a local domestic scene with things that are just happening consistently and we can't keep track. Every 48 hours, more drama. If it's not in the church, it's on the roads. And there's a lot of anger and anxiety in the atmosphere globally. So there's a tension in the environment. What you have to do is find ways to reduce the tension in your own self. That the tension doesn't rise within the eye, because the tension rises on the outside. So it will continue to rise. And if you internalize that rise in tension, you become anxious. And then now you get trapped into that medical cycle of anxiety and depression. Yes, and partial insanity. It's a deadly trap. So it's important, I think, that one in this time, within all of the confusion, find ways to find that little solace, that little space within the consciousness, that is the I. Yeah, man, and become stronger in your meditation, that outside events blow by and you learn not to internalize everything. You become more selective in what you internalize. In the same way you should be selective in what you eat as food. You become more selective in what you internalize through videos and sounds, and become more conscious about your environs, but is your mental environs, your inner environment. The outside is called the environment, you know. Environmental. The environment. There's a mental world in your external environment, but there's also an internal world. The inner environment. And that environment now we want to purge. The inner environment. And remove the doubts and the cobwebs and find the center of that environment that is internal. That point that is like the black dot. People ask, yeah, so man, where a circle start? Them tell say the circle doesn't start. The circle begins at the black dot. That is the center of the circle. The eye of consciousness. So we're exploring and we're examining, and we continue now to search out what are the things that holding what I call the race to be running on the same spot for the same 2,000 years. Running on the same spot, exerting energy but not really moving. And we look around and see other nations and races moving. So there are obviously certain things that we're still doing that holding us in one spot, irrespective of what advances around us in the maternal and the external environment. One of the most obvious upgrading in the external environment is what is happening through the world of technology. We want to also upgrade our internal environment, but problems are there. Some things planted from 2,000 and more years, and we just seem to be unable to unearth them things there. And so the route to finding those stumbling blocks rests in how I think we are being socialized to look at our own story. Our own story versus the story of African people, the history of Africa, versus the stories we get. And one of the places where most of the stories are recorded for us to hold is into the King James Version of reality. That is the book that ultimately most black people think is history book. They think that is the history of the world. They think that book is a history of the entire earth because it speaks about a beginning. But without spending time to go through the myths of the beginning story, another critical point where the story needs examination is a point that they call the Exodus. Yeah, the Exodus. Because the whole thing set up like after the Genesis now comes the Exodus. So in other words, like after everybody make and everything done now, then the people are going to step out of Africa. So I want to examine this event called the Exodus and to really explore whether that is a fantasy, a mythology, or is it a reality? What is and where and how did this Exodus occur? That African people today in this plantation life attach themselves to those who left out of that Exodus and have disconnected themselves from the millions and millions of African people throughout the earth while these events are supposed to be taking place. So I am saying is certain stories hold us, and it holds us in ignorance and it holds us in fear. So we hear about the Exodus. And we hear about slaves. And the slaves are escaping. And then the writer now of the Exodus is the same man who writes about the beginning. So again, we'll continue to examine and explore this character called Moses. How much things this one character have done. So we get a story now called the Exodus. And it's like, it's just a now, someone look like it's here, some modern life begin. Because everything before that kind of disconnected. But when we hear about the Exodus now, it's like we as a plantation people now coming into being. Is this experience going to bring the plantation slaves into being? They're going to come into being through this Exodus. But as an individual now who concerned about African history, I have to check this Exodus from the perspective now, not of the Hebrews, but of the Egyptians. Because remember now, story of different sides. And we always hearing the side of the story from Moses. Yeah, it's always theme version of what happened we get. It's theme story we get. And we hear say him said this and him said that and who talked to him and who never talked to him. Everything will come from this character called Moses. And him them say right so the world beginning in 7 days. It's him that write about the Garden of Eden. It's him tell you about Noah flood. It's one man telling us about all these things. So we have to check him. Who him know so much things and we him find time to do all them things and write all them things. Him go up a mountain and write all laws and come down again. We need to know. We need to slow down the thing. We need to slow it down so we can find ourselves. Find the individual African black self, the self that we always had before the massive enslavement process. So the Exodus, all the people who read that story and is in the Bible want to go visit that story. The Exodus. How many people took part in this Exodus? How many of those people are related to any of I and I in this time? What happened to the people who refused to leave and were residents in Egypt before Moses and after Moses? What of the culture of those people? So we just get drafted up in the story. And everybody find a way to attach themselves now to Moses and his tribes. And if you check the whole lineage, the whole thing bring you into the Solomon and Sheba and David and Jesus. The whole lineage story bring you right along that path. So we'll check the source. Checking the source. This is a man who we don't know how him even reach into the palace more than them tell us him was in a basket and them find him coming down a river. So I have my reservations. It's the same man them say part of the Red Sea. It's the same man them say go up on a mountain and voice out of bush tell him say must take off him shoes because the ground that him walking on is holy ground. Him want hear those things in him own head. Because him one was up there and them says him write it. So to accept all of these writings from this man now, them use the word called inspiration. And from a man's inspiration, you mustn't ask any more questions because inspiration means coming from something divine and real, and it is true. But where is the evidence that these utterances from these sounds were even divine in the first place? We have to revisit the thing, because this character has influenced the Western world, and the Western world meaning the Western black population in particular. And because he has been given to us as a savior, he has become the model now of salvation. Who is this person called Moses? Why do we embrace this monogamy and monotheism? Is it because of Moses? Where Moses coming from polygamy and polyandry and polytheism and all the various polycultures existed. We're having problems in our relations today because enough of us are instinctively non-monogamous. But laws have been created and we lock into the laws and we pay the price. So I want to know, check Moses, and check out this Exodus story. How many left Africa through that tradition spiritually? How many black people are spiritually non-Africans because they follow the journey through the religious book called the Bible? How many people identify with Israel and think that those, what you call slaves who were in Egypt, you and them is kindreds? How much are you hold that vibration? How many of us are attached to the concept of tribes of Israel? All of these things are connected to the myths of Moses. And as long as we hold Moses as a reality, all those other things will appear to be real. But we begin to realize that it's a character created by the Hebrews, an idea that we recognize that is really liberation we need by freeing ourselves from ideas, because ideas are created in the mind. Ideas rule the world. Moses is an idea, not necessarily a person. Metamorphosis.
The best event of the summer is back. Styles FM Fan Fusion Party, Episode 5, Tipsy Island. Saturday, July 7th, 2018 at Bayview Waterfront Property, Oysters Bay, Port Antonio, Jamaica. Come hear Styles FM finest DJs juggling retro hits. Retro Gunya style from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Admission $500 pre-sold, $800 at the gate. VIP $2,500. Party starts at 7 p.m. sharp. Listen to Styles FM for ticket outlets or call 876-518-2399. Fan Fusion Party, Tipsy Island. Dressed tropically elegant. Fan Fusion is not just a party, it's an experience.
Must be 18 years and older to enter. ID required. Drink responsibly.
It's Wow Factor Tuesdays with Chungy and Shelly. Every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's entertainment and interaction at its best. With features like the Share to Care segment, the Uprising 10 Countdown, and the ever-controversial Love Break. Yes, it's the Wow Factor. Your Tuesday mornings will never be the same again.
Wow Factor Tuesdays is sponsored by Wholesale Photo Lab Studio and DocuCenter and Bobby's Cafe Bar and Grill.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook, Styles FM 96.1.
Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by? Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on Styles FM from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality. You can win in the game of life. Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on Styles FM from 9 to 10 p.m.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Black. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Continuous journey through time and space to theme our African consciousness. Yeah, it's a consciousness of being African that has been beaten up, really, really beaten up and mashed down and reformatted. That consciousness that is African now is trying to exist under the umbrella of religious righteousness constructed by Europeans. And this righteousness now must be displayed by your behavior and your commitment to the words of the God. The Bible God. The God of Moses. The God of Abraham. Is that God force now really ruling the meditation of most of the Africans in this Western plantation? And so the events of that text, that set of events that them say happened in Egypt, the Egyptians have no record of any exodus. They have no records of any vast numbers of people leaving out of Egypt. And no one them recognize it now, and the geographical structure of the continent. If you're going to cross the Red Sea and leave the African mainland, I am saying to the item now, think about it psychologically. If you psychologically identify with the people who were called slaves there, then you're just as locked into the enslavement as anybody else who believes that the cow jumped over the moon. So you have to retrace your old spiritual journey now, to find out in yourself if you identify with those people in that story who were said to be slaves. And do you identify with their escape? Because it's that psychological journey now, that transforms plenty of people in this Western world today, as descendants of the tribes. And hold on now to this God of Moses now as their supreme God. Because the God of Moses was not the supreme God in Egypt. It is the Hebrew people who are going to construct this idea now of the God of Moses. And this God of Moses is given characteristics, and the main one is jealousy. The main characteristic is jealousy. And jealousy is one of the 7 deadly sins. So you have to be careful now how you're embracing the concept of a God that have the characteristics that you attach to as a sinner. Because jealousy is a handmaid to envy. Just like how liar and thief work together. And if a man or a woman lie, you don't see them as a thief. And if somebody thief, you know see them as a lie. Well, that's jealousy and envy work, hand in hand. So we are revisit this Moses now to examine what is it has been given to us now as the God of Moses. And is it that God that we need to let go? To return, to be able to recapture now our African love. God, this is not a God of love. This God was actually a God who was opposing Africa. This God was in opposition to the Pharaohs. Was in opposition to the Africans. But because we don't find the time often, or think it important enough to revisit these tales end up tying us up. So, Moses as a character has been projected to us as a great liberator. Is him free the people, and we think that the people him free is we. And we don't know how many of those people could have just 15 people, could have 50 people leave with him. And all of us over here are millions now identifying as descendants of those 50 people. That is the mark of insanity. That's why we're having all these problems amongst ourselves, because it's deep psychic problems we're suffering from. Now, we're given laws. And these laws are called commandments. And everybody will tell us that the 10 commandments are right and just, and it's God's laws. When you examine Moses, this is that Moses pirate those laws. He plagiarized those laws because those laws were already established by an even greater ruler in real life now, the king of Babylonia, called Hammurabi. And that is an ancient lawgiver I should be studying and to know the codes of Hammurabi. But what Moses has done is pirated the modern literature. Moses pirated the works of Babylonian scholars. That's why it is so distracting when you hear a man in them consciousness today say they are born Babylon. Still carrying through the misconstruction of the early Rastaman, them also link the police with the biblical Babylon. The historical Babylon of Africa and King Hammurabi and the great orchestration of mathematics and chemistry and the various sciences that were developed in Babylonia. We can't bound that. We have to know what we'll say and what we are doing now. And it's in Babylonia. The writings were there about an ancient flood. And it's in Babylonia you read about the epic of Gilgamesh and Enkidu. And then you realize where Moses get fame Noah's story from. Then you realize that this brother is a fraud. He's a fraud. Because the characteristics that them attached to him is impossible for a man to embrace as one man. And the things that them say right, it's coming from other cultures. So we have to revisit the things that with them GUI that we have put down in our consciousness as foundation. The 10 Commandments. Somebody will say to you, well, nothing wrong with them. 10 Commandments is good things, it's good laws. Look here, I have been living consciously long before Moses born. And we never used to have anybody tell me, thou shalt not steal. Nobody never tell us enough to steal, because stealing wasn't part of our nature. We never used to sleep with one another, with other man's wife. We never used to covet people's things because things were there in abundance. We are coming from a society and a state of nature where abundance is a rule. The Europeans coming from a state of society where scarcity is a norm. So there's always a struggle against nature. The African psychology is to be harmonious because nature provides in abundance. So we have to revisit with psychology what we have adopted now to embracing this Moses character. To tell you about the laws, about the laws of Moses, and we must obey those laws. And the very first law is the most contentious, because that is the law Moses say, that Lord God tell him say, the people must have no more God but him. Because the knowledge exists that the universe and the social structures of several cultures have their gods and goddesses. The Olmecs of Central America, they have them civilization, they have them culture 5,000 BC, 6,000 years before the Christian era. None of these people didn't escape through Moses. What about the Toltecs and the Olmecs and the Mayas, the Aztecs? These cultures never have to escape through no Red Sea to be come out as any tribesmen serving any God without mercy. We have to wake up. We have to wake up. The same literature that we read speaks of a God of creation. It also speaks of a Lord God of Moses. Lord is a title that is a European title. Lord. And this is what we find in the second reading of the book of Genesis, where the writers now begin to put the English construct into it. And we say, Lord God now is the one who I and I are supposed to pay homage to. When the God of creation, within the story, sign off after the seventh day. And all things were perfect and everything was rested. And now all of a sudden now we hear about the introduction of a Lord God. It's a title. It's the beginning of a story. It's the beginning of a fiction. We have to take our brain out of that to be able to compete in the real world against nations who are not befuddled by them kind of stories. Nations who are focusing on economics and political power, that they can be a world player rather than a spectator. So, that's what I say about Moses. And we are going to dig him up further and realize that we don't need to be holding on to that as a foundation. We're more ancient than Abraham. We're more ancient than all of these Hebrew characters. If we want to retain our African identity, we have to let go the Hebrew Jew vibration. Metamorphosis. Greetings, Metamorphosis.
Yes. Blessed. I'm calling from Atlanta. Just want to say hello.
Yes, I.
Yes, I'm listening to the reasoning, and personally, Dr. Ben Jokahana and Dr. Van Sertimer, they said in interviews and enough interviews that one should really don't even confuse themselves with the Bible. Dr. Ben said, I can't say it verbatim, but pretty much said it's not a waste of time. Pretty much, you know, that has nothing to do with you at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that we should kind of reach out to certain doctors like that. try to figure out the truth of before, the whole Bible and before Moses, because, yes, I live in the United States right now, and it's hectic. But the thing is, you can't make that, like you said earlier, you can't make it internalize on yourself.
Yeah, man.
So we stand strong out here.
Seeing?
And always get things, and we always tuning in,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, but there's a point though, there are a lot of persons who are so driven by those words that unless they begin to really think, it's as if the world can't exist if there was no Bible. It's like for a lot of people, it is the history of the world. And the kind of confusion it creates now because there's no space for Africa in that Bible.
Heavy confusion.
Yeah, man. We can't find our African culture and history in the Bible. Yet it is supposed to be the book of the history of the world.
It's a slap in the face.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is, But it's, I think, when something has been enforced on you for 2,000 years, it's easy for us to say, no, we should just let it go. But it's so deeply embedded that the mothers are influencing the unborn by what they are thinking. It's that serious.
We have to break free from that because it's a duty. And the thing is, we are not lost. We have people to go to.
Right, we do.
Marcus Garvey.
Yes. Yeah.
Haile Selassie.
Yes.
Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes.
Malcolm X.
Why?
Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
So there is really no confusion when you say, like, and I'm only 27, Dr. Black, but sometimes, the elders and the world I'm living in, I'm just a baby still,
Seeing.
Truths and rights. So I have to just stay humble, listen to Dr. Ben, Dr. Sertima.
Yes, I.
Dr.
Francis Cresswell Singh, Amos Wilson,
Khalid Muhammad, and there's many of them. And to be honest, that's what keeps a young man like me in America going.
Ah, yeah, I get you. Definitely.
Also, the metamorphosis.
Yes. The thing about it, the thing about it in America, you have to use that culture, African culture consciousness to protect yourself, literally.
I'm glad you said that, Dr. Black. Because the atmosphere now is that everyone may know about the pyramids. They have a thing called being woke.
Yeah.
But the thing is, everyone's woke. Everyone can tell you about Marcus Garvey. Oh, I heard of him. I heard of Malcolm X.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with how you're living and the everyday actions and how you eating.
True. But so, perhaps it's a process, It's just that oftentimes we turn these characters into, for example, they made a Malcolm X movie years ago, and it's like it takes the energy out of the revolution when they commercialize these our heroes,
Definitely.
So we have to watch.
Definitely.
We have to watch it, We have to watch it.
Not to be sound stingy, but sometimes you have to keep the best jewels for yourself.
All right. See it there now. See it there. I'll try to be a little bit more selective, or you share what you know,
Yes. And this is self-preservation. And like I said, the atmosphere now is everyone's conscious about all the Black history.
Yes.
And Dr. Black, I know the ones out there do, have their research and all about it, but they got some people, and I don't like to speak on them, but it's a thing called fake woke,
Okay.
What I'm saying is you have to do action. You just can't
right,
talk about,
right.
I'm a vegan, I eat vegetarian, or I do yoga, and you're going, it's a lifestyle. So all I'm saying is keep pushing. If you're out there doing what you're doing, just keep pushing.
All right, give thanks.
More life.
All right, Atlanta. Yes, the lines remain open. Locally, 453-1444. And overseas, it's 954-338-7973. So we just wrapped into Atlanta like a while ago. And the toxic atmosphere there. And the basic attitude in the North American framework now to make black people feel very uncomfortable. Not just in North America, it's the same vibes being run in the United Kingdom. They're both on the same wavelength, you know. Right? Teresa and Donald. They're on the same wavelength. It's the same way Ronald and Margaret in their time were on the same wavelength. It's the same way, you know, Donald and Teresa running things. They have agreed unconsciously that diversity will not work. And the greatest thing for them to know to unite as white people. And they're not ashamed to say it. Black people now must lose that shame of defining and defending them blackness. Stop going like say you're shame to tell somebody say you're black because they might think that you are anti-white. What is anti-white? As a matter of fact, you know, I was just looking at some literature and I realized, boy, North America rough, you know. First of all, no, it became public, said the policeman them a killer of black people in the streets. It was known from the Rodney King time. It was known from the days of the slave patrol. It has been going on from 1800s, where law enforcement, as I like to call them, has been brutalizing black people left, right, and center. Lynch mobs, everything are gone. All right. Black man had no chance in the court system because the jurors was always white people. The whole thing set up against black people to have any breathing space on the North American plantation. Now, technology come and camera start flick. And now all that they were doing come to the camera. And them say it's not them anymore. Because they were provoked. And all kind of argument surface because the brutality had become obvious. And that America was not a place where black people really, really were being made to feel comfortable. So when the murder rate reached a level where it started upon Facebook Live, boy, I tell you all the things step up. We started the killings of I&I upon Facebook Live. It can't go no more now, you know. The black man in America, they say because them can't be deported, because them deny Africa as them homeland, them have to stay there. And them have to fight the fight. Those who don't know how to fight end up in the prisons, because the prison is a land of deportation for black men in America. That's where them deport native-born black people. Black man, them rebel, protest, and out of all of that now come a movement called Black Lives Matter. All right. And so a political umbrella set up now for black people protests. This is separate from Colin Kaepernick now kneeling down, you know, because that's another story. Because the NFL has responded and then we find people if them, hey, may I tell you, man, anyway. Black Lives Matter surface. And the white man in his cunningness, because part of the key characteristic of the white man is an ability to him called to be cunning. Yeah. Him rate that and him boost it up. And the more English word for cunning is clever. Oh, he's very clever. Oh, they just love to that. It's when a man can do things and get away, that is bandoogle. Them say, oh, he's clever. Oh, he's very cunning. And they have a great amount of respect for cunningness and cleverness. And we have associated cunning with a fox, you know. We always have been told that foxes are cunning and it connects to thief. Because fox thief. All right. I'm going to show you the cunningness now of the white man in America and the media. So black people can't take the brutality no more. And crying out to the world now with Black Lives Matter. Waiting them do. Them form something called White Lives Matter. So now, It's a black against white thing now them set up now, you know. You know what them have now? Them man them graduate from White Lives Matter to Blue Lives Matter. Yeah, the Blue Lives now is a man them who wear the blue uniform. The same man them now the slave patrol, the police. So them move it now from the racial discrimination and violation, which was the Black Lives Matter, to a political one called White Lives Matter, because there's no white life. There is no white life. You have Caucasian people, but there's no white life. But black life is a reality, because I and I is black. Those people are not white. Those people are Caucasians. Them non-black. But them call themselves white as a political umbrella, and them take away the consciousness of the Black Life Movement and create this mimic one called White Life Matter. And them never done this so. Now it's Blue Life Matter. But who we think wearing the blue uniform? It's the same man them now who have been shooting on I and I like dogs. Well, a lie and a dog. A dog get good treatment in America. Dog get dog food and dog medicine and dog clothes. So I tell you them now, it's an awakening. It's a consciousness we need to realize the trickery. And black people must begin to rally around and unite around them blackness. We're not opposed to white people, and white is not opposite of black. There's no opposite. There's no opposition because black is not a color. And the people are not white. So Black Lives Matter. African lives matter. And we have to see the connection between our blackness and our Africanness. That the black man in America now have to begin to leg out that hyphenated American and recognize him as a black man. Him as a black African living in America or dying in America. Watch the NFL. They have decided against protests, but they can't use the American flag and tie your head. You can use the American flag and turn in a bathing suit. But you disrespect the flag if you kneel down to protest Russia's oppression. And then in all of that, they say, God bless America, the God of Moses, and the God of Abraham. So why should we be sending prayers to that God? Metamorphosis.
Get up in the morning, slaving for bread, sir, so that every mouth can be fed. Oh, me Israelites, get up in the morning, slaving for bread, sir, so that every mouth can be fed. Oh, me Israelites.
Just follow me now. Right over there, sir. Through that hole there.
But Bears, be careful if you go in. The place too dark.
Just right over there, sir. Right over where the hole there.
Aye, come on. A mosquito bite me. Bears, me no like come on them place after dark, you know.
So wait. Are they little back them afraid of? Come on. We almost reach.
And there's something that me can't bother with, you know. That's why we make sure we walk with all the Bible. I think they're going to make rolling car reach me like last year. But kiss my brown fall. How them people are? Oh, the place is so crowded. And when they
Thank Fan Fusion Episode 5, Tipsy Islands, Saturday, July 7th, starting at 7 p.m. sharp at the Bayview Waterfront Property, Oysters Bay, Port Antonio. Be there.
Who said that woman can't done? Tell them say the woman don't come to done.
This feeling is taking over me. I'm so excited.
What? Feel the euphoria.
Tuesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. with the Master Mixer Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Giving a total satisfaction with melodies and memories by the score. With the widest selection of genres and hits. So you don't know the program you turn up, you know. So you know Patek's a full dance, the one you slap with.
Digital and we are party. Yeah, we flawless. Euphoria the program. Every Tuesday.
5 to 9. Every Tuesday.
With the Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Black. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
On the move, all are getting in the groove. Out of many we are one. That's our motto all along. So move up now, Jamaica, move up. Though some people say we are small, still we are not the type to crawl. Yes, we are small, but we are no pup. So that's why we are moving up. So move up now, Jamaica, move up. We are independent now. With our bauxite, cane and rum, banana, citrus stories in two, and our industries quite a few. But move up, whether you high or you low, whether you're a friend or foe.
This particular song is by a group called All and the Vibrators, called Move Up. The song was produced in the 60s. It's a little bit after Jamaica achieved, well, a little before Jamaica was granted independence. So the whole idea was that Jamaica was ready to move up. They move up the ladder in terms of nation building and international reputation and all the various things that make a nation feel proud or make the citizens of a nation feel proud about themselves and the country that they're in. Well, you know, we're gone beyond 50 years now since that chant to move up. And I am reflecting on the movements from that time, and it has not been a movement upwards. It's not even really a movement downward either, you know. It's like, yeah, we just go sideways for decades. And when we begin to explore the foundation to that sideways movement, I am saying much of it is resting into the level of ignorance and low level of understanding of the world and the history of the world of the population here. And the population here, by design, has been encouraged to leave the island. Not just the population, but the whole ethos and psyche of the nation has been to export. The English set that cycle in motion by having Jamaica as a centerpiece of their economic exploitation through sugarcane. And sugarcane was all a matter of exporting the sugar and ultimately the creation of rum. So these are industries that Jamaica always thought would have been established to the level where we become really economically independent. But enough things have gone wrong. And the wrong movement forces us to look into the type of leadership that Jamaica has inherited. And the resources that the country have had to its own disposal and how we have used those resources. And the point I really want to get at now is, as much as we have these raw materials and resources, we lack a philosophy that will make us feel self-reliant. We lack the philosophy that will make us feel self-confidence. And a lot of that would come from the top for the society to grow. It should be coming from the level of the leadership, where the leadership is promoting a philosophy of self-reliance and development. But that cannot be the case on a plantation. And because the island remains a colony, but we also not forget that now, that the emancipation was one process. The independence was another process. But none of those processes brought the people to the level of self-reliance and self-confidence. What was obviously lacking was a philosophy and a psychology that spoke to the Africanness in the people. That we remove all that ignoramus talk and the media propaganda about the negativity of Africa and begin to get conscious. So it reached a point now wherein there is not much faith in the population in the nature of the leadership. But leadership has not demonstrated its ability to improve the confidence of the population. The population, as I said before, has been encouraged to go foreign. And the psychology behind that now is that you will send your money back to Jamaica. And that becomes a feature in the governance and the economics. But I said to the item now, if the leadership here really had an interest in make Jamaica really move up to become a power that we can be, they would be focusing much more on a level of identity development, developing the people's consciousness about their identity. Where they're going to say, yeah, well, we have identity because we're Jamaican. But Jamaican is a national identity. And anybody can come here and claim that after spending a certain amount of years. In the same way, you can go to Uncle Sam and claim American citizenship after a certain amount of years. But you can't go there and claim, say you're white. You can't go there and claim a racial identity that you're not. So that is the foundation of your psychology and your personality, your racial identity. And in Jamaica now, the leadership makes sure, through education systems and church, that we never get there. So getting beyond the Jamaican is the key to reach into the nature of being an African and being a black man. The man who came to tell us and to remind us of who we were, the same leadership kicked him out. Speaking about Marcus Mosiah Garvey. The same leadership who recognized that race first is a dangerous ideology discouraged Garvey and encouraged Garvey to leave. And as a matter of fact, them drive him out. And Garvey landed in a place where race consciousness rules. So it means in Jamaica, we unconscious when it comes to race. We're racially unconscious. We're racially unconscious. And it is being amplified and it's being emphasized by the amount of churches and the amount of preachers that we produce here in Jamaica. Because I don't know any of those preachers who preach race first. Them preach about Jesus first. And once them preach Jesus first, the subconscious mind sees Jesus as non-African. The subconscious mind is concerned with images. And the images from the idea you need is that the image of the Jesus is a European. So the Jamaican people now caught up between losing the identity as an African, trying to claim the identity of being a Christian, and really are nowhere in themselves. So the way out of this morass as a population is to really come to grips with who you are as an individual first. Who am I? What am I? You have to can answer that to yourself. Who am I? Or what am I? And if you begin to get serious to know who you are and you ask who am I, you have to go into the lineage and the history of the people that you're connected to. So we're talking about genetics and heritage. And now we're going into our homeland in the psychic and spiritual way. We're talking about the continent. The same way that Indian can go to his homeland and still be in Jamaica because India is his homeland. There is no homeland for Negroes. There is no land called Negro land. You can't claim that. The only land on the continent and the land on the earth that is indigenous to black people is the continent of Africa. But people in Jamaica now don't want to claim to be Africans because of the propaganda and the negative media about Africa itself. And so when we talk about unity now and move up, not going on that level, because the division in the people is great, and the division in the population is not along political lines. That just simply give you a split in two. The great divide is in the religion. It's in the variety and the various denominations on this island. That is really the foundation of our disunity. Because each of these religious groups claim that they are more righteous than the next religious group. With the record for churches per square mile in Jamaica, just do the maths and see the foundation of our disruption. And I'm going to segue from that now to what's happening in Jamaica yesterday now with this religious pastor who passing through and get into a debate with an entertainer, Mr. Vegas. And the thing get rowdy. And the entertainer had to be escorted out by police. And here it is a preacher now, come from out of a different place and come here. And his message is one that is embracing some teachings out of the Bible that condemn women. And the women sit there in the hundreds and hundreds, listening to this man telling them about the word of God. If we really want to transform this nation, the women have a significant role to play. They must remove themselves out of that stupor. This adoration, this desire for a protector. The reality is that we have lost our protector, who was the man. The man was a natural protector for the African woman. And And the European in his barbaric way, in attacking the African family system, violently separate the man from the woman, embarrass the man in front of the woman, remove all self-esteem and self-respect from the man, to the point where the women had to become the protectors of the sons. The women started protecting their own sons based upon the level of violence afflicted upon I and I. And so the women have been traumatized, psychologically traumatized, and literally operating on a level of reversal based upon the trauma. So all women have been so traumatized that they have a deep need for a protector still. And the European has given them the image of a protector in the Jesus. And so you go into the woman's house, there's an image of a Jesus. And deep in her subconscious mind, that is her protector. Because the man has lost his way. The woman, them have to wake up to that. The man, them have to become conscious of them real role. Have to reconnect the unity of the male and the female. That we can get family life going again in Jamaica. The violence that we're experiencing, much of it is due to absent family structures on this island. We have to address that by addressing male-female relations before it gets into the bed. We have to begin to reason out these things. So, what is your view? 4531444. That's the local number. You have a voice. Now it's time to hear what you think. Metamorphosis. Tell us what you think.
What
what kind of world are we really living in now? Something's happening that by the time we take a breath, something is happening that is totally outlandish. Shootings in the United States on the high school campuses now is like the new norm. You anticipate it happening every week in a different state. New norms. The tendency to be bully and to be bullied. Bullyism has always existed. Now it has become it reached another level now where it is now a norm. And this bully norm is really being emphasized and amplified by the leadership in the White House. Because you see, whatever, that a thing that were once covert has now become overt because of the behavior of the leadership in the White House. The concept of political correctness has been thrown out the window. There's no more masking of racism. Everything now is overt. Everything now is blatant. So I must become blatantly black and blatantly conscious about our African heritage. Because that takes us deeper than culture, you know. Culture can be pirated. I have a lot of experience of black culture being pirated. The heritage, you can't pirate that. Because heritage now carries you beyond culture into your genetics. So, we say Jamaica now having its identity crisis continuously, where the massive population is black, but they don't identify as Africans. And the black massive don't even call themselves black. They're into the brown and the off-white and all the shades, thinking that the lesser black they are, the nearer white they are, and white is right. The University of the West Indies, which is our highest level of education as an institution, along with we call it tertiary, because now we have University of Technology and Northern Caribbean. So tertiary education, and that is symbolized by the UWI as the flagship. And University of the West Indies now, remember now, you know, is them focused on developing and training minds and brains that are going to come out and be effective in the society. And that effectiveness now I speak about is not about changing the society. It's about maintaining what they call the status quo. Helping to maintain the society as it is. They call it balanced. The University of the West Indies, of course, now is a place where our society has been encouraged to send our children, because when you get your degree will give you status. And the status thing is supposed to be put in a position now where you can get a so-called higher paid job. That has been the template. And our children have been running through that routine year in, year out. Now the way it's set up that it is really a preparatory foundation to send our children abroad. So this institution now, UWI, they have an institute set up on the Mona campus. An institute called the Confucius Institute. Now, Confucius is a great philosopher from the culture in which he represents. Confucius represents the Oriental culture. And Confucius' philosophy is deep and wide in the population of the people in the Orient, particularly China. And you know, say, there is a Confucius Institute at the University of the West Indies, Mona, an institute that teaches about the philosophy of Confucius, the history of China and the culture and everything. They have an institute teaching that in Jamaica. And would you be surprised then that same University of the West Indies has no institute for our first national hero, our great philosopher, Marcus Mosiah Garvey? There is none for Garvey, but there's an institute for Confucius. No, Confucius Institute, I'm sure, was not financed by the Jamaican government. I'm almost sure the Chinese government had a hands on with that process. So, what it leaves one to speculate is that the Institute for Marcus Garvey, for example, has never been even considered. And the argument would always be the government don't have any money for that. But it's the priority. The priorities are exposed because the priorities of the government is not necessarily having to do with the priorities of the black African mass population. They have to be on the same page because those who are in government, their priority is to remain in government, not to provide service and to upgrade and bring people to self-consciousness and self-awareness. That is a dream for those who are knowledgeable about liberation. It's a dream. So the government and the leadership, the private sector, those with the resources, have never seen it fit to establish a Marcus Garvey Institute at UWI. Them struggle with it to put up a statue, and all know the statue not proper. The first one had to be torn down, and the second one is no better, and it has not been torn down yet. And to protect it, UWI have been paying a security guard to sit in front of that statue to keep it under observation for 24 hours a day. Because they know that it is inappropriate as it relates to the public. And the massive society don't recognize that as anything to make one and one feel proud to be associated with Marcus Mosiah Garvey. It's a shabby work. And it was done twice. And university used the same man who failed the first time to do it again, and him failed again. So there's a kind of anti-black vibration, anti-African sentiment that comes from the highest level of our leadership and government. And they pay lip service to black causes, but at the same time, they would stuff Reggae Month into Black History Month. They wouldn't find space for Black History Month to be separate from Reggae Month, that we can have more consciousness during the year. No. Everything come up in 4 weeks. And when those 4 weeks are over, you return to the normal Roman calendar, into Easter and up into Jesus again. So it's a strategy to keep the people asleep, which is why such a preacher could come into Jamaica yesterday and keep up romantics, and people don't feel threatened. People don't feel threatened by those type of behaviors because I'm coming under the name of the cloth. I want to mention Bible and the cloth and Jesus, everybody just back off. Yeah, because it's something divine and spiritual coming through. And we know that these men are basically robbers. They come to capture souls. And when you capture the souls, you capture their money. And we have been fleeced by these men for decades. And I appeal to the women to stop it. And to stop it is only flocking to these churches, trying to find salvation in a man that you hear is the savior. And all of you want the one man, and at the same time, when one man want more than one woman on a vex. How can that be? Dissonance, conflict. How do we shake off them kind of cobwebs there? Knowledge, courage, and thought power. Metamorphosis.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Black. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Ditchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low price promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollars.
It's Wow Factor Tuesdays with Chungy and Shelly. Every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's entertainment and interaction at its best. With features like the Share to Care segment, the Uprising 10 Countdown, and the ever-controversial Love Break. Yes, it's the Wow Factor. Your Tuesday mornings will never be the same again.
Wow Factor Tuesdays is sponsored by Wholesale Photo Lab Studio and DocuCenter and Bobby's Cafe Bar and Grill. For complete auto repairs and services, come to Akon Auto Technology, located at 33 Bumble Crescent, Port Antonio, Jamaica. We offer specialist services in wheel alignment and wheel balancing, brake drum and disc rotary servicing, state-of-the-art ultrasonic cleaning and testing of your fuel injectors. We also stock an assorted range of auto service parts, tires, and motorcraft batteries. If we don't have it, we will source it for you. Call us at 876-715-5205 or email AkonAutoTech16@gmail.com. Akon Auto Technology, beyond the typical auto mechanic shop.
This is Ricardo Suave, inviting you to tune into Smoozic, the show for the ladies, with DJ Prestige, from 9 to midnight every Tuesday on Styles 96.1 FM, Portland's best.
I've been watching you.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook, Styles FM 96.1.
Intelligence rules the world, and ignorance carries the burden. Therefore, in all things, seek and demonstrate intelligence. Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Oh,
Metamorphosis moving through. Remember 4531444 if you want to make a little input. Your voice will be appreciated, loved, and the world is listening. We carry that the ABC, CBS, NBC, VVD, all them kind of guys there telling us how to think and what is important and when should we think Trump and Kim Jong-un is important versus when should Benjamin Netanyahu become more important than Assad in Syria and all of these places they're carrying us, or should we go to Venezuela and side with Maduro, or them have us all around the world. And so where is it that we should focus as a people by ourselves? We need to have some points of focus. And an important point of focus is the internal environment that we have. And how can we reorganize that internal environment, that what's happening on the outside doesn't have that negative impact as what it is intended. And we can kind of build our self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-awareness. In other words, now, if we build our self-awareness, our self-esteem, and our self-knowledge, we're on the way to our own personal liberation. It has to happen at the individual level first before it can talk about something collective. And then you can share your information and your knowledge with your brethren and your sisters. And don't try to go around and preach. That's what the churches are there for. They're there to convince people. And then I convince nobody about nothing, you know. We're not here to try to convince one soul. And I'm here to share information and reasoning and perspectives. And hope that every individual now will eventually arrive at their own perspective. And it must be grounded in reality, in history, earth history. Not history of the Bible, which is not about the earth. Earth history, African history, ancient cultural histories that tell you about the planet Earth. So I was speaking a bit earlier about happening in Jamaica and why we are still in this backward condition. And mentally and psychologically we have not embraced who we are yet. We're holding on to figments. We look into what's happening in the Caribbean now. We had a recent election. And there's this whole idea about democracy. That again is a Greek concept. And democracies are societies that at some point in time have classes. Classes. I talk about ruling classes. And from me talk about the ruling class, you talk about the classes who are under rulership, domination. When you talk about a colony, you talk about a group of people who see themselves as superior to another set of people. The superior group always are the ones who are the colonizers. And those who are left to feel inferior are always the natives. So within this whole Caribbean space that we speak about now, all of these islands are basically still colonies. Jamaica is a colony, governed by a 92-year-old white woman and her successors, represented by the Governor General, that is costing the state over $200 million a year just to keep him and them people there. So we woke up to the news in Barbados that there was a clean sweep, 30 love, first past the post type of elections. And the population decides that them don't want no opposition. The people vote and say them don't want nobody to oppose who them putting in. This is very, very interesting, you know. It's not like what going on in Jamaica when one side strike and make the next side take over fully. The people say them don't need no opposition. One party them want to run them country. Now everybody panicking because democracy say you must have more than one party and blah, blah, blah. But democracy is about the will of the people. And if the people vote 30 love, why are you constructing an opposition? So we're not really willing to go by the will of the people. Willing to follow a model that the British set up that allows for all kind of skullduggery and separation of the people and divide the people. Barbados seems to be quite united now. And yet they're going to create an opposition. Yeah, you understand? And try to tell you that what you call a one-party state is a dictatorship. And throw all these different words now into the mix. And it is the will of the people. The irony behind Barbados is that the new prime minister, female, overdue in a place like Barbados, a new type of leadership. But nothing has changed beyond the gender. Because Barbados still bows to the Queen. So when Jamaica had Portia Simpson, we thought that we were doing something different because a woman prime minister, blah, blah, blah. She has come and gone and the Queen's still there. And the Queen is 92. So me and Motley now, congratulations, Prime Minister of Barbados. But she too is under the crown. And so the black population in the Caribbean still being governed in these English spaces by the crown. And the crown is all about abstraction, taking away, extracting resources out of their colonies. And you see what happened in England now. After them extract physical human resources as labor and help make the people rebuild them country, them tell them no, so they have to go. They have to go. So we must come out of the delusion of being British and being Caribbean and being everything except African people. Everything except black people. And the more we run away from those identities, the more we become oppressed by people who realize that we hate ourselves. Critical to liberation is self-awareness. Self-awareness will take it to self-esteem. And the word esteem simply means value, where you begin to value yourself. And once you begin to value yourself, you begin to move to the level of having confidence in that same self. And with confidence, Garvey has already told us, the race is halfway won with confidence. So it's all internal work we need. The external environment will always be disruptive. What we have to do is harmonize our internal being. Consciousness is a force that is neither created nor can be destroyed. Consciousness is. Yes, I have a comment on the WhatsApp. Person didn't drop them name, but the message is clear. They wanted to know what I was thinking relative to the Barbados new person called it new experiment in government in Barbados, and wondering if there will be balance or if balance is needed. So I have to consider now what we really mean by balance. What is being balanced here now? Because we are accustomed to have this opposition concept, and think that opposition is supposed to balance the proposition. And oftentimes it causes more division in the country than anything else. It's like, I think a coalition government probably more useful for the wider population than these Westminster type of government wherein is who first go past the post win and the other who come second become the opposition. In other words, now we have been steeped into that as a framework of government dropped on us by the British. And now we say out of natural movement of the people, then voting all of one side. Now that goes against what the British would expect, because they expect that there must be this Queen's loyal opposition. And in this opposition, as I said today, them we saw it work in Jamaica. They really are fake, because they're not really in opposition to each other, but they have the people opposing each other at the ground level. And when the people are uneducated and illiterate, that opposition plays out itself in violence. In Barbados, where the education level is at quite a high level, there is not much space for the opposition to create that opposition in the society based upon ignorance, because the population is educated. I want them get out of saying that now, saying to them now, that is a lack of education in our population why the opposition thing create division in the people. Because the people are divided now based upon ignorance. Not knowing that the opposition is not really opposites of those who are in government. They are their friends. Sometimes they are family. So I am not so sure if this opposition concept is necessary for the benevolence of the government to reward the people who put them in power. And the people by now must be experienced. So it's something that I think should be watched very keenly, and it could be a game changer in this idea that you must have an opposition in your country, because if the entire country vote one direction, that is it. Why manufacture an opposition now? We should allow the people them to go and govern, and if the people them get upset, then an opposition will be born out of the people. Yeah, the people will create an opposition, and it will come to the forefront, and it will challenge the dominant. But for now, if the people say 30%, 30 seats run the house, and it's 30, I saw it for go. And let us work with that and see if we can create our own type of society. One that is no longer based upon this British model, that is colonial and has separation along the lines of class, and at the deepest level, discrimination through religion and all of these isms. It's interesting that Barbados has appreciated and has internalized Rastafari as a culture. And Jamaica don't reach there so yet. From my point of view. Metamorphosis.
By the time you leave,
waiting. I'll be waiting there for you. I'll be waiting for you. Yeah. Look at that. I'll be waiting there for you. Look at now.
4531444. That's the number to get into the metamorphosis.
If I could rule this whole world, then all men would be free. Free to know love and to know love is free. If I could rule this universe, then all men's heart would be clean. For some feel like happiness can be bought or free. Let me say, never when it comes to happiness is so. Never when it comes to happiness is so. Never when it comes to happiness is so. If you want my loving arms, just call me. And if you want my tender charm, just show me, darling. My, oh my, the tears all from my eyes. Why, oh why, must these falling tears be mine? They keep me tumbling, 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 tumbling down. If you want my tender kiss, just hold.
Yeah, the time is moving quite rapidly. It's already 11:30, which means it's another 30 minutes movements of Iman Block. Can't cover all the grounds that I was hoping to, but I wanted to just say something a bit about this concept of a child as we are closing out our Child's Month. And it kind of asks me to ask myself the question, what is a child, you know? And it sounds very simplistic, but I was giving you the example of the brethren now who lives in America with his family. He's 30 years old. And the youth, well, not the youth now, see, now do we know what to call him? The brethren decides him not move because him don't have enough money and him don't have a job and anything there. And the parents them take him to court. And the judge them agree with the parents, say it's time him leave. And him a resist. No, this is a brother who is 30 years old. And I am saying now, when does a infant become a child? And when does a child become an adult? And can somebody remain a child all them life? Because is it age that defines a child? Or is it maturity that defines a child? Because we're into this protection of the children. And we want to know, is there a point when the child is no longer a child? And from that point, the person is dealt with differently. And what is the break-off point? What is the cut-off point? Have we organized these things? Do we know these things amongst ourselves as a people? Because there are some adult age people who behave like children. And you have youths with the age of a child who behave like a mature adult. So me think so we have to sort out this child thing. It's the same way I have an issue with the concept of a youth. Because when somebody tell me say a youth want help, and when I go look, I say a person show up with a person in them 20s. I say, what kind of youth that you tell me boy want help? And youth, if you do things for youth, and do things for youth, and you check the youth are 30. Yeah, oh, you're 30 and you're youth. Oh, you're 25 and you're youth. May I say the youth thing to need a revisit. Because from my perspective, youth mean you're under 12, Some look at youth in Jamaica now because of the force-right mentality of the population. And so we have a society in Jamaica now where 12 and 13-year-old, I tell you, say them a man and them a woman. Yeah, 14, 15, them a woman and them a man. And really, and a whole big talk. And I really have to check myself and say to myself, hold on. So, where does childhood finish? And when does adult begin? And do we have any more rituals to inform an individual that they're no longer a child? And therefore certain responsibilities are now upon your shoulders. Because paying rent and overhead ought to be something that you do when you are matured and move beyond childhood. But as I say, I'm going to live in a mother house at 30 and refuse to move. Because in a female mind, he is still their child. So it's just something that I try out, I think we have to revisit. Enough man hide behind this youth concept. All of them fight against youth. And you check him in my 35. I'm not about youth. And when we go to the world of sports now, you figure youth game. And you check the youth. Oh youth, 20. 20 is not a youth in football. A youth in football is a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, a youth. So we need a sort of change in our psyche. We address ourselves and the responsibility that we're supposed to carry as individuals. Because the key word is not who to blame, in this life. When we're doing analysis, we don't ask who should we blame. We ask who is responsible. And the perspective can give you a big difference. Something go down between two people or a group of people, first thing them always talk about, a who for fault. A who for fault. And you try to find somebody to blame and everybody feel absolved of the responsibility. But the question is not who to blame. You ask the first question, who is responsible? Now, I mentioned earlier in the program now that I wanted to also touch upon a point wherein a lot of African people, black people now, a point that keeps them distracted from earth. Why is it they can't keep Africa in them consciousness? And I think it has to do now with a teaching that revolve around an idea called the rapture. And I was hear about this rapture from when I was a youth. And the rapture and people being taken off of the earth and this and that. And when I decided to really examine it a little closer, it's really an idea that the Bible presents. I think it was promoted by Paul and one of those dudes. And the whole idea is that the people on the earth who are believers in Jesus and the Christianity, that they are going to be taken up off of the earth into a sort of gathering in the sky, an aerial gathering. And this is a profound story because a lot of black people in the Western plantation world now, rather than focus on the now and look at Africa as a homeland, they are constantly talking about a rapture. Something that them anticipate in a time to come that they will be taken up off of the earth. This is a very, very serious misconception because the Chinese are not part of the rapture. The Indians not trying to leave the earth and the white man them going off on them own, in them own vessel. The only people who ain't going to the space travel without any vessel is the black people. All the other nations have them ships and them vessels and them science. But black people will be taken up into the sky without any helmets, without any oxygen, outside of reality. May I say, visit and revisit this rapture argument that has captured the imagination of black people and have taken us away from Africa as our destiny, and have people believing that their destiny will lie in the sky. It's another deception. And I want them look into it, because I'm going to continue on this exploration about this rapture, about people being taken up off the earth. You ever anything like that? In 2018, we know some man come off of the earth through vessels and vehicles. And here we have a set of people sitting down waiting for something to open in the sky and to just take them up. And all the people who are dead too, go and wake up too. Look here, man. And you wonder why we are oppressed globally, why there's a global racial hierarchy and the black people in generally at the bottom. Serious thing we have to look into. We have to abandon them kind of ideas, these future fears, and come into the reality of no. The clock kind of moving different in this moment, but I got to work with it. Two more things I really want to touch on. I want to just touch on the international global scene. And you know, this character named DJ Trump really is the man of the moment. And because the man is a reality TV star, the man knows how to create movies around him. I remember before the Winter Olympics, Kim Jong-un was the little rocket man who was threatening the world and was the most dangerous man in the world. And here we are now on the eve of another international game, the World Cup. And Rocket Man now is a brilliant man. And him and the dotard which will meet. But something has happened over the last couple of weeks. Because Kim Jong-un now has used these occasions to propel himself onto the world stage as a statesman. This is I perspective now from this distance. That Kim Jong-un has now positioned himself as an international statesman. He has had his second meeting with South Korea leader. He has had a meeting with the Chinese leader. And all of a sudden, Donald Trump felt left out of the whole picture. So it's like the show was going on even without him. It's like he was no longer the star boy in the show. So what do you think him do? Him say him not play no more. Him say him not play no more. And the whole world run that the next day through all the media around the world. So Donald Trump has withdrawn from the thing. And him get everybody upset next morning. Him say, well, all right. I was just playing a game. Don't everybody play games? No. This is the world leader from one of the most powerful economies and militaries in the world. Him say everybody play a game. And because him get left out of the game, him decide to stop the match. And when everybody start get excited about it, themselves, all right. I just joke. The game is on anyway. So see the world is in its most topsy-turvy state from the time they invade Africa. Yeah, the world is in a state now wherein this empire is on its edge. And we realize that as black people, we must seize the moment. Because out of this chaos, I have to find order. And the chaos will intensify. And so as it intensifies, it forces I to find more ways of thinking different to create a new environment for ourselves on the outside. So the environment that we need on the outside will only improve when we improve the environment that we have on our inside, our thinking, our environment, our mental environs have to be upgraded. Which means so we have to let go of superstitions. We have to abandon fears. Right? We have to chase away all doppies in the form of religious preachers and politicians. Because these are the two most obvious doppies that haunt the black people in this Western world. The preachers and the politicians. So, the talks that are planned now for Singapore, they're going to go through, I think. And if they don't go through, North Korea will go through without America. Because they now have consolidated them political allegiance with the South and with China. And they already have the backings of the Russians. They don't need the United States anymore. So Trump outplay himself. And America has taken one more step in his isolation from the international world. And so it is, as them dry up and get ready to blow away, black people must stand firm. And if we let go of America, make America blow away. And stop going like say, we build America. We were slaves in America. Slave building, not building out of will. Never build America out of volition. It's out of forced labor. So it disconnect our identity now from Africa because we feel like says we build America. Well, that may be the case. That we were the physical builders, but we don't own America. Where we can claim ownership is of the continent of Africa. We can claim ownership. But to claim the American continent is contrary because the military forces in America are controlled by white men. And there's no ammunition, there's no army of blacks in America to challenge that. So we have to think about we yard. And if, from the Jamaican perspective, yard was always Africa. The problem now in Jamaica is that the Africans have gotten the consciousness that that is their home. What is happening now here in Jamaica, the Africans here must begin to position themselves to claim Jamaica as well. We have to claim Jamaica because our blood and sweat run right here, so, and we are also the physical builders of this place. And we are in the majority, unlike in North America. We are in the majority in this place. So we must think about redemption. We must think about governance as well, not just in Africa and all those countries and the continent, but also where we are today in Jamaica. So it's things and things going on. And I want to just say something now towards the governance of Jamaica and the politics and the economics. That we have these two tribes, orange and green. And we have seen attempts by many to form what they call a third party. And we know that the tradition here is ARB. We have seen Bruce Golding take himself out of the JLP to help form a third party, the NDM. This is a man of status and credibility and so on and so forth. And over time, the NDM collapsed. And Bruce himself had to return to the JLP. So it's like the country riveted and locked into this two-party, two-horse race. Now, Rastafari from its inception rejected these two tribes from 1930s. We see them as parasites and hypocrites. And that's what they have proven to be. But being here for so long is not enough now to just chant them down. We have to begin to position ourselves wherein we can be part and be part of the way how this island is governed, but not within the framework that the British established. So I said to the island, no. Another movement is required. And this movement I have suggested to the island now is going to be driven by economics. I'm going to propose an economic movement, not a political movement. An economic movement. And this economic movement now must have an engine that will drive it. Because the movement requires money. If you try to create a political party, you have to find the money. So why not try to set up an economic movement? And I have suggested this economic movement will be driven by an agricultural product that has been twinned with industry. We're talking about hemp. We're talking about a liberation hemp movement or a hemp liberation movement. One day it may become a political movement in terms of politics. But the beginning of any movement now to bring any form of liberation, I am saying it must be an economic movement. So we want to develop an economic movement based upon hemp, a hemp movement. And that would be the engine for developing a political organization, because there will be money in it. And hemp factories could be established right across this island. It could begin right here in Portland. It could begin right over there in St. Thomas. Hemp factory. And we focus on how to build money as a movement, not building political parties upon rhetoric. We're tired of that now. So anything to challenge the PNP and the JLP must be based in its own economic foundation. I must say hemp is a way forward. We can liberate ourselves if we liberate the hemp. It doesn't require any great infrastructure of leadership. It's not illegal. Small acres of land. And we are banana, sugarcane as field. Hemp can succeed. So we need a push in Jamaica now for an economic revolution. An economic movement where people can see the benefits directly. The two political ways have exhausted themselves. And we see when it comes to economics, the two political parties are strapped for funding because of the depth of borrowing that the country has been put in. So they don't have no money except for what them think is their agenda to stay in power. I am going to say it again. We want an economic movement. You want to call it a party? We want a hemp party. A political party that recognizes the importance of economics. And the economics will be driven by the hemp industry. It can't stop. Can't stop if we have our own money. And hemp is a product that can give us 2,000 different items out of hemp. And you're telling me now, so we can't break the back of poverty with that formula. Those in government confusing people with the ganja, with the medical ganja field. Medical ganja doesn't bring money to the poor pockets of the poor people, nor make us owners of capital and industry. It keeps us as farmers and consumers. We need to make the leap. And the leap beyond the politicians and the preachers is into our own economic foundation. Once we have our own economic foundation, those men become irrelevant and become more dependent upon I and I if they want to get into power. So may I say it? Economic revolution, economic development, hemp movement, and we never broke again. Yes, Jojo, we hear you on the WhatsApp. You know, white men, they won't even give the natives a piece of their own land. Why do you think they are going to give us a piece of America? America and Europe, America is an extension of Europe. And black men need to work on building their own nation. Every other nation see wealth in Africa, and they run for a piece of it. Black men are running from Africa. Yeah, black people trying to run out of Africa because, you know, what we've been told, and where they're trying to go ultimately is up into the sky. Yes, they want to fight for this limited space because the promised land is in the sky, you know. Only a small amount can hold. We are billions. Our population is over 1 billion. And it's only 144,000 can hold out to the whole world. So the crab in the barrel vibration continues because of this spiritual struggle. So each try to prove to the next one that they are more righteous than the other one because their greater righteousness will get them into this house of, up in the sky. Tragedy. Yes, good night, Grace. And all to the people in the various states of the US of A. Stay strong as they tell you that you're getting further down into the week. Just make sure you stay strong. Hail all the ones and ones in the various continents. Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, and the various islands that surround this Atlantean Ocean. All ones and ones with their devices. We say give thanks for the technology that we have created and now we have access to. Yes, I have these inventions thousands of years. Because the ancients spoke about visitors from other galaxies, galactical beings passing through these places, our ancestors. Yes, we are ancient people.
For every pain there's a melody, yeah. For every trouble there's a harmony that brings everything together. So make we sing together. And who say life no order? And every man got this struggle. How begging you help me, Lord, and let me overcome my struggles. Can't be sweet, everybody wanna feel irate. Forget your troubles and rock with me.
So the United States have declared basically that they're at war with everybody. And the war at this moment could be defined as an economic war. They try to start a war with China and China does attack them before them attack them and then them back off. It's gamesmanship. But even when involved in a war of economic nature, you have to have bullet. You have to have ammunition. And we can, as a people, speak about our ammunition. What kind of ammunition we have? But the potential is there. Just develop the hemp. Yeah, man, just develop the hemp. Our Rastafarian community who celebrating smoking a spliff now and going as if it's a victory because of the brutality that we experience. It's a Pyrrhic victory. The victory will come when we shift them and tell them, so we now cut no more ganja for them, make the medicine. We ain't grow ganja as hemp. And allow them see how the medical industry going to work. If I don't cut the ganja and give them, allow them, make them find it. They could leave a smoke screen and go build money. Yeah, a hemp factory. Paper. Hemp block. Oil. 2,000 products. And there's no government who encouraging the people to develop even one of those products. Why? It will cut into the pharmaceutical world. It will cut into the paper world. It will cut into the cloth world. Because hemp cloth will run the place. And then you hear man cause hemp cloth. And then after a while, them ban that language because them say hemp cloth is a bad word. You know what that thing is? Yeah, but we have the potential to free ourselves through hemp to hemp cloth.
Living in a Babylon ain't easy, no way. Temptation on my right and evil on my left.
Don't fear dying. Do not fear dying. Fear not living. Check it.
In a positive way, I've got to pray to Jah to have some mercy, to keep me safe and guide me to travel on my way. Temptation is so strong, but I must fight it. I'll stand up.
This is no fantasy. This is reality. This is what someone keeps on doing to me. Someone keeps on reaping what I sow. That ain't right now. Who is the one I'd like to know? Won't you tell me now? Someone keeps on reaping.
Hail up all the strident soldiers of the Metamorphosis. Again, hail up Melchizedek. Hail up the Canadian man them, hail up Kasha Black and Juicy Max. Unite this evening. Yeah, and all the ones on the local level, right here in Port Antonio, right here in Bombrook, right here in the broader parish of Portland, right out of East. Hail up Amira. Yeah, man, hail up all the man, people, man, along King Jones Highway and over in Hector's Rivers Corner. Up in East Portland, up in Western St. Thomas, straight across into Harborview, right through St. Andrew, Kingston, down the coastline, St. Catherine, right around the Sphere Island. Hear up all those on the island because Jamaica is just that the population must recognize that Jah dwells within. That Jah is the I within. And all powers come from Jah. All powers come through the I. Yeah, the far I. So Rastafari speaks to the far I within Rasta. And that far eye allows one-on-ones to see, not just far away, but to see deep within. Yeah, so we give thanks for the occasion. And again, we say, make a move in consciousness. Consciousness manifests itself in all the cells of our body. Consciousness manifests itself through the organs of our body. And consciousness manifests itself through our thoughts. And we need to have those things in a harmony within our own selves. So yeah, I was even talking about the me and the I and the myself, the psychic trinity. I could bring them in harmony. And then we move towards a collective now, because each I would have come to know itself and understand the connection to the absolute and the power of race. So until then, you know, I want them go and stay focused on the powers and don't lose vision. Nothing wrong with dreaming, but maintain your visions. Visions provide a methodology. Dreams remain eerie, fiery. Yeah, man, so hail ones and ones. Hail up Cassidy. Hail up Jocko. Styles FM. I'm on block. Saying peace and prosperity to the I and I. Selassie.
Infiltrate. Even when it's dark, don't you ever have no fear, yeah. Cast away your troubles, I say, just for a moment or a day, yeah.